Hello, hello, hello. This is Natasha Montgomery with M.B.S. Whole Health. In an effort to keep my goal going of going live more often, this is my second live. I just recorded a new episode of the This Therapist Has Problems podcast. So I figure since I have a few minutes before my next session, I would hit my goal of going live today. What are we going to be talking about this week over the next couple of weeks? Because typically I will post a podcast episode every 2 weeks. We're going to be talking about functional depression. What is it? What does it look like? What does it mean? We're going to be going into that a little bit deeper. And as I was recording the podcast, recognizing how important it is to be intentional about resting. This past weekend was Father's Day, so my kids went to their dad's house, and because I have this inner dialogue that I should always be doing something, I felt like I should have taken that time to record content, episodes of the podcast, but instead I decided to let myself rest. So I watched some TV, I read a book, I laid around in bed, and I was very intentional about unplugging and resting. And then I took myself out on a date. I went and got some dinner at a yummy Indian restaurant. So I was very intentional about taking care of myself this weekend. But like I said, in recording the podcast, I recognize how we have such a hustle culture, hustle mentality, where we always feel like we have to be doing something in order to feel productive, in order to feel like we're worth something, in order to feel like we're accomplishing something. Especially in this culture of we need to have a full-time job, a part-time job, a side hustle, a LLC, and be a full-time content creator. There's this environment where you always have to be doing something. And in talking about functional depression, recognizing how we often on the outside look like we're thriving, but internally we are crumbling. And a lot of it is because we're exhausted. So for you who is watching, right, I know it is a Monday, right? We just got through the weekend. But what is something that you can realistically do for yourself that will cause you to take intentional rest? And as I discussed in the podcast, intentional rest is not always laying in the bed and going to sleep, but it's emotional rest. It's that space where you're allowing yourself to recharge, to rejuvenate, to really understand what taking the load off means, right? So what are some ways that you can be more intentional about allowing yourself to rest? So that is what I had to talk about today. I have a session in about 15 minutes. Like I said, I just finished recording the new episode of This Therapist Has Problems podcast. So today I will be doing some editing. I'll also will be recording some individual reels later on today, talking about different types of depression. So be on the lookout for those. I'm trying to find my groove with this whole recording. And actually, I love recording. It's the editing that be a pain. Ugh, it takes so long. But I'm working on it. I'm trying to, my whole word for today, my goal for today, not today, this year, is consistency. I am really, really good at having great ideas. I'm really good at starting. But when I get tired, it falls off. But I really love doing the podcast. I really love the content that I've been putting out, and people have been responding very well to it. So I'm guessing you guys enjoy it as well. So I am just trying to build on that consistency, trying to find the love for editing and putting the content out. What else have I been doing? I mentioned in a past podcast video that I have gotten sucked into court TV. So I am on verdict watch for the Karen Reed trial. I don't know if anyone out there has been watching the Karen Reed trial, but it has been a very interesting one. I won't tell you which way I am leaning because it is a very polarizing topic. but I'm on verdict watch. I have watched both trials, so I'm waiting on that. What else have I been doing? I really want to record a video, and I think I may record that. I want to do a podcast episode on the movie Sinners. I know some people who know me well know that I don't watch scary movies at all. I am such a scaredy cat. If I'm watching a show and if the music sounds like it's going to be scary, I will turn it off. So the fact that I went to go see Sinners when it was in the theaters by myself is huge. But I loved the movie, and I felt like there were so many emotional nuggets that I took from that movie that I really want to break down and explore further in a podcast episode. I know that they recently released the movie to watch at home, so I'm going to watch it again, make some notes, and really dig into deeper on that movie, because the main key thing that I got out of that movie is emotional vampires are real. And when I say emotional vampires, there are people in your life who see the positivity that you have in you, who see the strength, who see you have purpose, you have vision, you have success in your future, and they will leech onto you and suck your life force, suck your energy if you let them. So I am going to dive deeper into breaking that movie down and understanding different ways that emotional vampire showed up in that movie and how it relates to things that we deal with in our day-to-day life. So that is a goal. I'm really wanting to try and figure out how to make content fun. Like, I love doing these types of videos, but I'm like, I watch a lot of stuff and I pull a lot of nuggets out about how it can relate to our mental health. I think I have not yet watched the Tyler Perry movie Straw. So I'm going to watch that too to see kind of what nuggets I can get out of that and talk about. But I think it may be some of the from the office to the couch type of content where I'm kind of breaking down different TV shows, movies, documentaries to talk about some mental health aspects of things that we consume in our day-to-day life. So I definitely think it has been on my mind since I watched the movie to break down Sinners. I know as a Christian, people have a lot of thoughts on, if you're a Christian, you shouldn't go see that movie. But I think if you have strength in your beliefs and you understand people and understand, you should be open-minded to say, okay, what can I pull out of this that relates to me, and understanding not everything is made for me specifically, but I can find something for me in anything. So I will be taking some time to make some notes on that. What else have I been doing? What else have I watched lately? Oh my God. I watched what is it called? The Astrofest documentary this weekend. Jesus Christ. That was a lot to consume. I recently watched that documentary, and it confirmed my belief that I'm not going to no concerts that don't have assigned seats. It was really sad watching that documentary, and it just teaches us that, one, as parents, educating our kids on different things that they're wanting to go to and experience, but also having that situational awareness is very important, and understanding that not everyone has our best interests in mind, so we have to be extra cautious. I feel very sorry and sad, and just praying for the families who were affected by that awful event. But you can pull a lot from the things that you consume. So I did watch that documentary this weekend. What else? I think that's it. I feel like I blabbed a lot today. But again, I'm trying to get used to going live, being more comfortable, not leaning only on curated, edited content. So for you watching this, learn more. Look out for the podcast to learn more about functional depression. There's a lot of us who are walking around feeling a little down, not really sure why. So I'll break down, helping you understand what functional depression means and looks like. And if you can relate to it, I'll give you some tips on what to do about it, that you don't have to just continue to live that way. Be intentional this week. What are you doing for yourself to choose intentional rest, and not just physical rest, but emotional rest as well? And then what are some shows that you watched lately that you pulled some nuggets from that I can dig into and break down? Because I am like trying to balance out my content consumption and not just read a bunch of psychology books all the time. So trying to find some fun in the things that I'm watching. And I don't know, I feel like in another life I probably could have been a lawyer the way I'm consuming this court content. I hope that you're doing well. I hope that you're having a great Monday. Hope that you have a beautiful week. I will be back across your news feed as I'm editing content, putting it out specific to depression this week, and I will definitely be working on that video for Sinners. So if you've seen the Sinners movie, let me know your thoughts. What are some things that stood out for you that I may be able to touch on a little deeper in the podcast episode that I'm going to do? I think that's all I got. Wanted to pop in. I have 9 minutes before my next session starts, so I'm going to try and grab a snack, stretch my legs before it is time to log on to my next session. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for always supporting. If you are not following me on Instagram or wherever you're watching this, on Facebook, subscribe, watch, follow, whatever that button is that shows up on your thing. Let's stay in contact. I am trying to grow and just increase my reach as I'm talking about more relatable mental health things. So if you're not currently following, hit the follow button. It is free. It don't cost you nothing, but it does help to make sure that other people are being exposed to normalizing mental health conversations, which is what I am all about. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Have a great week. Bye. Let me figure out how to turn this off.